Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to this week's Midweek 180. I am back home today, which is Tuesday, but I'm off again somewhere tomorrow. But I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But if you've not seen one of these before, this is my midweek update where I bring you my news, views, and information about upcoming reviews, all filmed in one take. Housekeeping from last week, first of all. Leader of the pack was Michael Kember, well done mate, joined in the Magnificent Seven by Rod Matheson, Ben Higginson, Malcolm Brew, Owen McDonald, Paul Mead and Tyler Davis. So whoever puts the first comment this week, you'll be my leader of the pack next week, and the first 7 comments will be in my Magnificent Seven. We're not starting with F1 this week, we're going to start with Le Mans, because I got back from Le Mans late last night after a fantastic few days at Le Sarthe. Honestly, I think as a one-off motor race, it's very hard to beat Le Mans. It's a very special thing. I just read there were something like 300,000 people watching the race, and I had an amazing weekend. I was very fortunate to be hosted by Ferrari for the weekend. We started off the trip actually on Thursday morning at Ferrari in Slough and drove down to the tunnel in a 296 GTS, and then the other side from Calais to Le Mans, about 300 miles. We blasted our way through the French countryside. It was a beautiful sunny day, roof down all the way. And then we were staying at a beautiful chateau about half an hour's drive from Le Mans itself. So we got into the circuit on Friday. I think the build-up was quite interesting. On the Friday, we managed to have a press conference with all the Ferrari drivers and spoke to each one at length about their expectations for the race. They'd qualified quite well, but the surprise package in qualifying were the Cadillacs who'd come first and second in qualifying. But all of the Ferrari drivers kind of said, you know, qualifying is always important here, maybe more for kudos than anything else, but it's a very long race. And therefore, actually, the most important thing about qualifying, getting as close to the front as you can, is you just avoid all the traffic in the first few laps and therefore the risk of coming together with somebody. But once the race is underway, you can then build your way through, and strategically, it's a long time. Kind of proved itself, because once the race started, the 3 Ferraris just absolutely whipped to the front, and at one point were running 1, 2, 3. And honestly, I thought that there was a very good likelihood that they were going to get first, second, and third. Even maybe 6 hours from the end, you're thinking, oh, they're gonna do it here. But the last 4 hours, and I think for some fans or even people who don't get motor racing, they can't quite understand how you can watch a motor race for 24 hours and be enthralled by it the whole way. But yeah, the bit for me as a Porsche owner and fan was the Porsches, the Ferraris were doing great. One of the Porsches, the number 6 car, was actually disqualified from qualifying and started from the back of the grid. It was underweight at scrutineering the Kevin Estre car. But it was flying. I was on a walk about all the way out to sort of the Dunlop Bridge, and you could see the Porsche coming through, and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be good. So I went back to the media centre and watched the race finale from there. And it ended up with a fairy tale win for Robert Kubica. But I want to mention, it's not just Robert Kubica in the car. There's also Wai-Fei Yi and a Brit, Phil Hansen, were in the car with him. But Robert Kubica did the last 3.5 hours, 5 stints back to back. A remarkable effort, really. And for me, it's just so great to see him finally getting what will now, I'm sure, be the highlight of his career. He had a very promising F1 career. I'm sure we all know the story. Cut short by a horrific rallying accident where he crashed and the Armco penetrated the car. He very nearly lost his life. He lost pretty much all of the mobility skills in one of his arms. I remember meeting him at Festival of Speed and interviewing him, and you know, back then it was before he returned to Formula One. He was trying really hard. In fact, that was the year before there was then announced he was coming back in the Williams seat. And he struggled when he came back to Formula One. So it's great to see him go into endurance car racing, and for him to be so strong and to do that last 3.5 hours was remarkable, really. So yeah, fantastic for the. It wasn't the factory team. AF Corsa is a customer team, and they run from the factory. They've got very similar to Sport to the factory. They run in the cooler colour, though. I think the yellow car just looked so awesome with the yellow overalls and the drivers. It was mega. But we got to go down and visit the pit box. We were really lucky when we were in the pit box. There was a pit stop happen as we were in the pit box. So it was a great thing to be behind the scenes with the team that ended up winning was very, very special. Sad news today, so we're now where Tuesday, it's come out that the 4th place Ferrari, the number 50 car, has been disqualified. So in the post-race scrutineering, it was found that there were some screws not in place in the rear wing, and that meant that basically it could move more than it was allowed to. So that car has been disqualified. It doesn't affect the podium at all, because the number 51 car, the Ferrari, came 3rd. But yeah, very, very sad for that team for sure. Formula One at the weekend, so we got back to the chateau where we were staying after the finale of the Le Mans 24-hour, and then we all sat round and watched the Formula One. It wasn't the best race, but I've just got all I need to say is, what the hell was Lando thinking? So Lando clearly went for a move that probably wasn't really there. It was a mistake. He's put his hands up and owned up and said it was a mistake. That is a bit of a kind of demonstration to a few other drivers on the grid. That's what happens when you mess up. You don't blame it on somebody else. You just go, do you know what? My bad. It's on me. I messed up. And I think that will have a damaging effect for Lando's season, really. I think he's 23 points behind Piastri now, so really he needs a weekend where Piastri has a DNF and he has a win just to kind of readjust things, but not good for him at all. Great race by Russell with Verstappen in 2nd place, and then Kimi Antonelli on the podium, which is very cool. I think the youngest podium driver or something along those lines. Now, this is pretty cool. We are inside Casa Ferrari, the Ferrari hospitality. There is a Mustang race going on, which sounds amazing, but we're here because Ferrari have just launched this. This is a 296 Speciale Piloti. So recently Ferrari have released the 296 Speciale, which is the lightweight, more power version of the car I drove down here in. This is even more exclusive because this is only available for drivers who are driving in any of the Ferrari series. And that makes it very, very exclusive. It's a special livery. The car underneath isn't any different. It's really a livery. But they did this first off with the 488 Pista Piloti, and that car became a bit of a legend, and the residual values for the Pista Piloti stayed really, really high. So we've been invited into Casa Ferrari to take a look at this car. So let's just take a look, point of view around this car, because it's really very cool. Okay, so let's take a walk around this 296 Speciale Piloti. Now the Speciale is a much more aggressive car aerodynamically than the 296 GTB. You've got these lovely little flared winglets just here. Lots of carbon on the diffuser. I just popped the rear hatch open so we can look inside. The Speciale has, I think, something like 50 horsepower more. It's about 60 kilos lighter than the GTB. Not that I've been thinking the car needed any more power on the way down. It's got carbon fibre wheels, which look spectacular, shod with Pilot Sport Cup 2s, which is always a good thing. As I said, this car is predominantly just a livery. Let's just talk about the number. So obviously the car on show here is number 51, I guess in reference to one of the 2 factory cars racing here this weekend. But this car is available to drivers in any Ferrari championship. And therefore the number, I would guess, is most likely the driver will choose their number, and it will then appear on the side of the car, but also inside you've got the number on the seat, and also you've got the number on the floor mat, which is a really nice touch. Inside the car, you've got these spectacular carbon buckets with full race harness, Alcantara absolutely everywhere, carbon fibre everywhere, the shields on the wing, and then even under the bonnet, look at the carbon fibre work here. It's just an amazing thing to look at. So yeah, really spectacular. While the bonnet's up like this, you can see you also have your number on the bonnet, which is a nice touch. So yeah, really very, very cool. It's a bit of a bun fight to get a view of the car at the moment. Lots of people having a look. As I said, the car was literally only announced last night, and we got the invite to come here and see it at Casa Ferrari late last night. So we are, apart from the very exclusive Ferrari clientele that are here in Casa Ferrari, we are the first to see it, certainly the first journalist to see it, and it's spectacular. Now then, 9/11 video. I did promise you I would put a video out after 7.5 weeks since I collected the car. The video dropped yesterday. So as I'm recording this, it's not been live 24 hours yet. And so far it's done 54,000 views. So it's gone absolute gangbusters. That's amazing, but also a bit annoying at the same time because, you know, if something goes wrong and you shoot a video that took me very little time to film and it's done 54,000 views, yet my Dacia Sandrider Hot Lap, which was just a phenomenal experience, and those people who have watched that video said how much they enjoyed it. So if you haven't watched my Dacia Sandrider video, I will put a link in the description, but it's on the channel. It was Friday's video. It's not even done 3,000 views yet. It tanked so badly, and I'm really I've changed the title 2 or 3 times to try and invigorate things, and I think it's just a case nobody really cares about it or about motorsport on YouTube, which is so frustrating because such an amazing opportunity. I get to actually talk to and spend time with Nasser Al-Attiyah, 5-time Dakar champion, then take you along with me into his incredible Dacia Sandrider car. So yeah, please, if you haven't watched it, give it a watch, maybe give it a share, put a comment on it. Let's try and revitalize that video. It would be great if it did well. And then last few things, as I said, it's Tuesday at the moment. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 or there or thereabouts, myself and Joe and Pat from the podcast board the Eurotunnel at Folkestone and head off to Germany for the Nurburgring N24. I had a GR Yaris facelift delivered today, so that is my weapon of choice. That is the car I will be driving to the N24. I went last year with Mini, although it was about the N8 last year because the fog came in and then the race ended up being abandoned. So hopefully the weather forecast looks pretty good, so we'll hopefully have better weather than last year and have a full race. I'm there with Michelin, and I'm also there with Manthey Racing, so hoping to take you guys behind the scenes at Manthey Racing, which will be really cool. We got a tour of their factory, we're in with the team, we're going to get to see the pits, so it should be a really cool behind the scenes view of another fantastic race. Very similar format, clearly 24 hours, but I think it's just a little bit smaller scale. You get slightly better access at the N24, so I can't wait to take you along the journey for that one. And then I've tweaked things. I did say I wasn't going to do a midweek 180 this week, and I was going to do my Kia EV6 GT facelift video on the Wednesday, and then a Ferrari Le Mans 24-hour race video on the Friday. I've decided not to do a Ferrari Le Mans video. Just the things I was allowed to film and not film while I was there was quite restrictive, so I've decided to swap them round. I gave you a little bit about my Le Mans trip in this video, and therefore Friday at 6 will be the Kia EV6 GT. The other thing is I haven't actually finished editing that video yet, but I will. I've got another couple of hours on it. I'll get cracking once I've done this one. Anyway, I hope you are well and enjoying this beautiful weather. But if you enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next video, which is this Friday at 6 for the Kia EV6 GT. I know it's an electric car, but it has in excess of 600 horsepower. And it's got gears. Yes, flappy paddle gearbox. in an electric car. And I'm on some of the most fantastic roads in the best weather you can possibly imagine. You will enjoy